I had stopped at the small, roadside cafe only because my car needed fuel and my phone battery was dying. It wasn't a place I would normally choose, with its faded sign and half-empty parking lot. Still, I went inside, hoping for a quick coffee and a quiet break. The cafe was almost empty, except for an older couple near the window and a man in a suit speaking loudly on his phone. The smell of coffee mixed with fried food hung in the air. I sat near the counter, scrolling through messages, not expecting anything unusual. A young waitress came over with a polite smile and took my order. As she placed the cup in front of me, her expression changed slightly. Her eyes moved past me toward the door, then back to my face. She leaned in and whispered, "Hide now and watch." Her voice was calm, but her hands were shaking. Before I could ask what she meant, she nodded toward a narrow hallway behind the counter. Confused but uneasy, I picked up my phone and quietly moved where she pointed, standing partly hidden behind a storage shelf. From there, I could see most of the cafe without being noticed. My heart was beating fast, and I didn't know why I was suddenly following a stranger's strange instruction. Still, something in her eyes told me this wasn't a joke. Moments later, the door opened again. Two men walked in, both wearing dark jackets and scanning the room like they were searching for someone. One of them locked eyes with the man in the suit, who immediately ended his call. The atmosphere changed instantly. The older couple stopped talking. Even the music from the radio felt too loud. The waitress continued working as if nothing was wrong, but I could see her breathing was shallow. The men approached the suited man and spoke to him in low voices. I couldn't hear the words, but I could see the tension in their faces. The suited man tried to laugh it off, but his smile looked forced. Suddenly, one of the men grabbed his arm. A chair scraped loudly across the floor. The older woman gasped, and the cafe owner rushed out from the back, shouting for them to stop. That's when everything exploded into chaos. The suited man shouted that it was a misunderstanding, but the men accused him of stealing money and lying about his identity. People started recording on their phones. The waitress glanced in my direction for a split second, making sure I was still hidden. My hands were sweating, and I realized how close I was to being involved in something dangerous. Within minutes, police sirens could be heard outside. Someone must have called them during the argument. The two men froze, clearly not expecting the authorities to arrive so fast. When the police entered, the entire cafe fell silent. After a tense exchange, all three men were taken outside for questioning. The suited man looked completely different now, no confidence, no loud voice, just fear. As quickly as it began, it was over. The cafe slowly returned to life, with people whispering and replaying videos on their phones. I stepped out from my hiding spot, still trying to understand what I had just witnessed. The waitress came over and finally explained. She recognized the suited man from a news report about a financial scam. The two men were victims who had tracked him down, and she knew trouble was coming the moment she saw his face. She told me she didn't want an innocent customer caught in the middle if things turned violent. That's why she warned me. Her voice was steady now, but her eyes still showed the stress. I thanked her, realizing how close I'd come to being part of something much worse. 10 minutes earlier, I had just wanted coffee and a charged phone. Now, I felt like I had stepped out of a different reality. As I left the cafe, police lights flashing behind me, I kept thinking about how quickly normal moments can turn upside down. One quiet warning from a stranger had changed everything. Driving away, I looked at the cafe in my rearview mirror. Nothing about it looked special. Yet I knew I'd remember that place for the rest of my life. From that day on, I paid more attention to people, to small signs, and to quiet warnings. Sometimes, the biggest turning points begin with a whisper you almost ignore. And every time a stranger tells me to be careful, I listen because 10 minutes can truly change everything.